Hello, listeners, and welcome back to the Community Exchange podcast, where we talk to friends old and new about their careers and the future of the media industry. I'm Matthew Scott Goldstein, better known as
MSG.
Thank you, Sam.
You are so welcome.
As always, the Community Exchange podcast is brought to you by OpenWeb, the company building a safer, fairer, and more trustworthy internet. Now we have a great conversation with Sam Mellor, but you're Sam Gladys to me, because that's where we first met.
I'm Sam Gladys in my heart.
Okay. Commercial marketing and enterprise growth at BBC. She's an executive marketing and go-to-market leader who drives adoption, category growth, and commercial transformation, turning complex data and technology into high-impact solutions. And she's also my new LinkedIn go-to person. Okay, Sam.
Okay.
Do you want to start where we met at Hearst, or you want to go before that? Your career, how you got there.
My career, how I got there. Flexible.
Okay.
Happy to start wherever you want. I can take it. You can take it.
You go.
Okay. So from a career perspective, I am a transformation marketer at heart. I'm also a transformation marketer in practice. And what that means is that I am brought into organizations that are navigating critical inflection points, and I lead.
Let's unpack that, because I love that whole thing.
Oh, you want to unpack it? Okay.
Well, because like transformational.
Yeah.
And then you're going through inflection points.
100%.
Like, just tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, I can give you specific examples.
You want to start at Hearst, or do you want to start before that?
I would probably start before that. I think my work at the World Surf League is probably a really strong place to start.
Okay.
When I joined, World Surf League was an investor-backed, disparate set of live surf events. And what they were looking to do was create a global sports
What year is this, ballpark?
Brand. Mid-teens.
Okay.
Mid-20-teens.
Okay.
And so walking into a set of global live events that didn't have one centralized place where people could engage with them, and then also being challenged with an objective of driving fandom in the United States is a perfect example of an inflection point.
Okay.
So how do you transform what you have into what you want it to be? And how do you set up both the infrastructure from a technology, processes, and systems perspective, but also from a strategy and internal architecture perspective to support ultimately where you land in your new or evolved commercial marketplace.
Because as we talked about before, to me, you're not a marketer. To me, you're a thoughtful strategist.
Yeah.
Which is why I love talking to you, and you give me all my pain in the ass feedback about what I'm doing wrong on LinkedIn. We'll get to later, but keep on going.
Fair enough. Yeah, so that's what motivates me. I read a quote once, and it's really stuck with me. I think it was the ex-CEO of Twitter long before
Jack Dorsey?
Russ.
Okay.
Russ Lowry. Gosh, that's embarrassing. I should remember his name. I'll send it to you after, because the book is incredible and it's all about leadership. But something that he said about what motivated him was he wakes up every day looking to solve really big problems with really smart people and hopefully leaving a positive impact along the way. And that resonates with me.
That's so compelling.
It's so compelling.
It's something that none of us really do every day, because it's really hard.
And it's also so simple to be able to boil down your motivation into something with such clarity is incredibly powerful. It's also an incredibly helpful lens to put your day-to-day through, to help you prioritize, to help you make decisions about where you want to invest your valuable time and resources.
And also find great people around you to be able to solve those problems together.
Absolutely. Building out your professional network, building out your personal network, all in service of that, because problems don't just exist at work. They also exist in your day-to-day life. And maybe they aren't characterized as problems, but challenges that you want to overcome or opportunities that you want to capitalize on. And doing that really does require having the right people around you to support making progress in that endeavor. So that has stuck with me. That's something that I feel I relate to very deeply. And so when you say I really think of you as a strategist, to be honest, so do I. I really think about the work.
And that's why the BBC where you're now is lucky to have you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I am very lucky to have them as well. But that's exactly where I want to put my time, is to say, okay, what is the reality of where we are now? What is the white space or the opportunity that we see ahead of us, or that is just out of reach, or maybe is incredibly far away, but we want to make a lot of progress towards? Can we define that? Can we be honest with ourselves and look at how we're set up, how we're engaging with our consumer, whether it's our current consumer or who we want to be engaging with? Can we have that internal audit to say, are we in the right position? Are we able to capitalize on this moment? And if not, can we do the hard work to put us in such a place that when we achieve the structural setup, when we achieve the clarity of purpose, the clarity of mission, and the clarity of what we want to bring to the table in terms of value for whoever our end user is, we can win when we get there. And that's what motivates me every day. And that's been the through line of my career.
Because sometimes we forget about the end user, what they really want and how they're using the product we're building.
We do. And you're like, the allergies in New York City today are just like unrivaled. I would love to say that I'm emotional about my career, but that is not what's happening. I think that's absolutely right. We all have a tendency to get so caught up in how did I do today? How did my team do today? What was my contributory value to the company today? And having all of that in place is incredibly important. I'll say at the BBC, one of the exercises that we are in the middle of, I don't think you ever really end this exercise, but we are working to clarify and be able to articulate our organizational mission and vision, our strategic imperatives, which we've landed on and feel really good about, and then what are the purpose statements for all of the functional teams that roll up into my org such that they can be enthusiastic, they can offer clarity, and they can support their peers in conveying clearly what's their value, what do they do, what are they responsible for, and how do you engage with them?
It's funny that you say mission, because once you said that, I think I harken back to my early career when I worked at Nickelodeon.
Oh, yeah.
Because it had a mission.
Yeah.
I still remember it today.
Yes.
We connect with kids and connect kids to their world.
And how beautifully simple is that?
And it is the simplest thing.
Yes.
And I can't remember any other missions that I've heard
Yes.
that are just that simple, that resonate so well.
Yes.
Unlike Google's like, do no evil, that's a different conversation.
That is a different conversation to be had, absolutely. But, you know, we started this sort of line of dialogue around remembering the end user. And for us in my organization at BBC, where, you know, I'm really sitting within our commercial group that is looking to drive ad sales revenue, my end user is BBC's audience. It doesn't matter what my team is bringing to bear. It still has to add value to that audience such that I can make good on the promise that I make to our advertising partners, that I can motivate them to action. But I'm never going to do that disingenuously, because that is against the BBC's values and it is against our mission. And I'm never going to strive to create a situation where the experience that they've come to us for is in any way jeopardized. And in fact, it should be enhanced. And so we think about the reason why I took you sort of down that rabbit hole of the work that we've been doing is so that we are always prioritizing our BBC user and in lockstep prioritizing our advertising partners, because we really act as consultative resources to them, and we have to make good on the commitments that we make to them that we can support their business growth.
And the user is traditionally the consumer who is engaging with the content, whether it's TV or news or whatever else.
Sure. So broadly, I mean, BBC is massive.
Yep.
I don't think a lot of people understand just how big this organization is.
Why don't you inform us?
Well,
I'm being serious.
I mean, yeah, I know. And I share this not as like a pitch but I share it as just every day I get to walk into an organization that is responsible for global phenomena like Bluey, that is bringing to audiences culture and conversation shaping content like Baby Reindeer and Conclave, that is one of the largest audio producers in the world, that is creating genre-defining content, natural history genre-defining content like Blue Planet. We're just, and of course, news is our front door. I mean, so we're storytellers at our core. We're deeply committed to understanding what our audiences value, what they need from us. We are committed to ensuring they have the information that they need to make the best decisions for themselves, whether that is through a storytelling vertical of news and journalism, whether that is through a storytelling vertical of entertainment, whether that is through a storytelling vertical of natural history and beyond, and then across all of the different platforms where we exist, which is really mind-boggling. Our ecosystem is huge. So yes, that is the end user, but now imagine my team being in a position where we're charged with translating BBC's brand value into commercial opportunities that drive measurable outcomes for our partners and that add value to that end user.
And measurable outcomes are viewership or listeners or advertising.
Measurable outcomes for us are really about making progress towards our partners' marketing and business objectives. So are we trying to support increases in perception on critical brand traits, for example? We work a lot with technology organizations, and I know we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but we work a lot with enterprise and SaaS companies that are really looking to get their AI technologies considered in a more upstream capacity. They want to be among the first consideration set of partners. And so they will come to us and say, either that is the objective, help us be more upstream, or we have an insight that we aren't seen as innovative. Maybe it's a legacy technology company and we aren't seen as innovative, and we need to move the needle on that particular brand metric. We can help them do that. We can measurably help them do that. Or it could be as simple as we need to increase adoption. That is the end goal.
So real outcomes.
Real outcomes, again, really tied to business and marketing objectives, and helping them grow, up and to the right, as we in turn grow up and to the right.
Okay, let's jump right into AI right now.
Great.
Okay, so how is AI impacting everything you're working on and the future of the content that's being made inside the BBC?
Yeah, I think we have to break that into a couple of different pieces. In terms of our business and my organization and the teams that sit within my organization, and of course our sales team with whom we partner, we are working with AI companies and technology companies, as I said, that are struggling to break through. So that is a huge part of my business right now, because we have an enormous and high value B2B audience, and we are the one of the top conduits to that audience.
In the US and the UK?
In the UK is a public service.
Okay.
So we are the BBC Studios, which is where I sit, and where our team sit is ex-UK.
Okay.
But yes, globally.
Okay.
So we reach 50% of all C-suites globally, and same in the United States. And so we are having these companies come to us and say, we want to be considered more upstream. We need to increase our adoption. We need to break through. And so
but the fact that these companies are coming to you to have these conversations.
Yes, because we know the audience.
And you get access to them,
Yes.
which most other big companies in the US as media companies don't really get.
That's absolutely right. It's a testament to our audience, and it's a testament to our brand. It's also a testament to the outcomes that we can deliver. But I do want to go back to your question of how this is changing the business.
Right.
And so something that I'm seeing, again, is really a consultative partner to these companies is they don't necessarily see that they're still sitting in kind of a hype vortex, in a buzz vortex, where the language is still incredibly engineering focused or VC focused, where they're still putting spokespeople out into the world that are meant to be helping their target audiences understand why they would need that technology. And they're using terminology like, I'm going to pick on Perplexity for a minute, which actually isn't an enterprise one-to-one, but I'm just going to pick on it because
I just picked on the other day.
Well, I was because it's the same for consumer, right? We're not just B2B, we're consumer too, and we have these conversations as well. And so I was listening to an interview. Semaphore was interviewing the CEO of Perplexity, talking about Comet. And his
Comet, the new browser.
Yes, the new browser. And his opening salvo was that we want to be the operating system. We want to automate asynchronous tasks. Now, do I know what that means? Yes. Did I put a consumer hat on and sit there and go, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
He's talking engineering talk.
It's engineering talk, and it's all very features based, and it's very technology based, Whereas we need to do a couple of things. If you really want to support adoption, there are 70,000 AI companies in the world right now, and that's growing every day. Many of them are enterprise focused. How are you going to break through? It's by communicating outcomes. It's by communicating impact. It's by inspiring possibility and talking to your audiences the right way and using the right parlance to do that. I think what we've found that has been so helpful in shaping these conversations and driving success is that 80% of enterprise AI decision makers have zero technology background. Zero. You are now talking to heads of HR, marketing CMOs and marketing teams. You're dealing with board members who
come in and say, where's our
AI?
Yeah.
Right. Give me AI. But something like only 14% of boards have any AI governance or regularly put AI on their agendas. And you have to change how you talk to these people. They are already compressed by and responding to variables that I don't think a lot of companies take into account. You have really shortened tenures for a lot of these leaders, and they have to demonstrate outcomes incredibly quickly. And so you need to be able to come to them and say, I've spent a lot of time understanding what your challenges are, what your needs are, and I have put together where I think my technology, where I believe my AI technology can support you, can make you more successful, and thus, in turn, make the business more successful. And I think that's also why you see, I don't know, something like 80% of proof of concepts never make it to production because it's all rushed and they're not speaking the right language. And so that's where we come in. We help them do that.
I heard from someone yesterday who insists that the engineers in every big company is now making all the decisions, and that whatever the engineer tool they like to use gets boiled up to management, and management buys whatever the engineer likes because they are the ones who are most important to critically building everything.
And what an incredible vulnerability that creates. That's a huge risk. I mean, the engineer is not the one interfacing with consumers every day. I don't care who your consumer is. That they don't have that relationship. Now, arguably, some companies do prioritize that and they do try to bring engineers along, and I give them a lot of credit because I think the more you can disseminate and democratize the understanding of your audience, the better you will be. And I don't want to write off that team by any means.
The point he was making is that if an engineer loves using that software, they will use that software over something else that you buy that they won't like as much. And if you use the one they like, it was just interesting to get that perspective.
Yes, I understand. But I think that feeds into what I'm saying, which is that's a risk. That's a break in the chain because we are not in service of the engineer. We're in service of who we are in service of, which is who's our customer, who is our end user, whose life are we trying to improve, what challenge are we trying to help them overcome. And technology, particularly AI, let's keep it focused on AI. AI is moving so fast. It's moving so fast. It is capturing so much investment. I mean, you look at these valuations and some of these people don't even have customers yet. How are you going to break through? Your long-term success is 100% dependent on long-term adoption. And that means that you are delivering on the needs of your clients such that they can deliver on the needs of their customers. And it kind of goes back to, I think, where I started, which is to say we need to change the language and we need to impress upon this industry that they have to commit to deeply understanding the users of AI, to deeply understanding that there is a responsibility to bring people along broadly, yes, but you need to understand what you're delivering for people, and you have to communicate it in such a way where someone can internalize that and feel motivated by the emotion that the story of your technology elicits in them.
But it feels like in today's world we live in, the content creators, the publishers don't have a lot of say in what these trillion-dollar tech companies are doing, and they're sort of...
I don't necessarily know that they have to have say in what they're doing. I think, we're talking about a dynamic ecosystem here, right? You've got vertical AI, you've got the more general use AI, you've got agentic AI, and I guess those things aren't necessarily in competition because one is a type and two are areas of focus. But I would flip that and say, it's not that they need to have a say in what the AI companies are doing. It's that AI companies are not taking advantage of a huge group of people that have their finger on the pulse and they understand.
Meaning the content creators.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, they're taking the content, they're scraping the content.
Oh, I see. You're not talking about how you speak to.
No, I'm talking about
you're talking about these models are taking content. Okay.
I did some math the other day. There's like 11 foundational models in the world.
I saw that.
Western
world. Posted on it.
Western world, not including China.
Yes.
And they're just scraping and taking everything as they can. And that's where I mean, like, they're not listening. They're doing whatever they want to do. They're paying for the chips. They're paying for the data. They're paying for the engineers, and they're not paying for the content. That's what I want to talk about with you. Like, what do you think about that?
I mean, it's a really big problem that I want to solve with really smart people.
You just referenced. That was pretty good.
And I think leaving a positive impact along the way is probably particularly poignant and relevant here. What do I think about that? I think a couple of things. First of all, it is the exact reason why BBC, for example, has not engaged in a commercial relationship with an AI company. Accuracy is not where we need it to be. We are, as I said, news is our front door.
So many mistakes still.
So many mistakes. We ran some proprietary research earlier this year and found some really concerning outcomes, even when we ran the model against our own content. So yes, broadly, when we ran it against news and answers came back, there were inaccuracies. But when it was confined...
But the public has accepted these inaccuracies for the...
Yes.
Which is crazy.
Oh my gosh. 56% of people rely on AI for an answer, 8% fact check. That's bananas. That is absolutely bananas. And it goes to, I loved getting your email this morning. You're like, yeah. All those topics sound good. I'm also going to throw Google 0 at you. And I was like, okay, cool. But it goes back to that topic too, which is, Google is summarizing. Google is now putting AI-generated summaries at the top of their search bar. Now, you don't necessarily, maybe we are getting accustomed to it, and maybe some people are pointedly choosing to go to Google because they like that feature. But Google is now impacting the passive search engager who has come for an answer.
I think search is fundamentally changing.
Oh, yeah. AI search it's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's here. And that's an inevitability. There are some inevitabilities here that aren't really worth...
Well, once ChatGPT went out in November 22, it changed everything.
Yes,
and now Google's
exactly right.
catching up. And
Yes, that's exactly right. But do I have some very meaningful concerns about how... Let's take a step back. I work at a company that fundamentally believes that you need to have access to accurate, objective information. We invest in putting people on the ground to get that information. They are in harm's way. They are establishing relationships with information sources.
Love where this is going, yes.
They are doing critical work to ensure that there are, to the best of our ability, no shadows. That light shines everywhere, that you can see the world for what it is, for what is actually happening, and you can in turn contextualize that information and use it as you need. And use it as you need.
And it's verified and fact-checked and accurate all the time.
All the time. It is human forward. Now, BBC uses AI to support internal processes. For example, we're running pilots all the time to see where it can enhance our human-driven
It can help you rewrite
outcome.
a couple sentences here and there. No big deal.
Absolutely. But that's what we do. And the decisions that we're talking about can be, where do I invest my money? The decisions that we're talking about can be, how do I plan 6 to 8 months out my supply chain? These are real, meaningful decisions at every level. And any risk to the accuracy of that information, the accessibility of that information is a concern. And again, that goes back to why we haven't engaged in a commercial AI partnership.
Okay, I know you cannot answer this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. But you haven't sued anyone yet.
You're going to see my eyes like flash.
But you haven't sued anyone yet.
Tom's partner over there. I'm not answering anything about
right, because I did some homework over the weekend.
Anything to do with...
And the New York Times has spent $18.7 million.
25 now.
No, 18.7.
Oh, is it?
18.7 million. I went to
and it's only going to go up.
Yeah, and it's crazy how much money they're spending suing OpenAI.
Yeah, there's going to be a break point. What is their... They did a deal with, Rufus?
Amazon, 20 to 25 million a year.
20,
yeah.
And that's what it's going to go to.
Yeah.
Right? So what they get in over there from a strictly math perspective. I'm not
so going back, you
statements.
need big problems, smart people to get together and try to figure this out.
Yes,
but
here's... Yeah, go ahead, please.
I think you also need to get publishers and AI companies together in a room, which is virtually impossible.
Well...
At the senior leadership level.
Yes, because I think that would also necessitate a certain level of accountability that is unlikely. I mean, rabid capitalism is rabid capitalism. I'm not giving it an excuse, but I think that is probably, we don't have regulation. We don't have...
Yeah, and right now it's a race against China.
It's an arms race.
Yeah.
It's a version of an arms race. Mm-hmm. I think that's right. What I will say is, and that's not to say that you won't find empathetic ears in the AI industry. So does a solution need to be had or architected? Yes. Where I am eager to see this conversation go is beyond trying to fix it in the current confines and constraints of the dynamic that exists today. Because if we were to go out and say, hold up, no taking our content, right? Let's say that was the decision. Okay, but that can't happen alone. It has to happen with an eye toward what is the future of media? How does it exist in a world where AI search is an inevitability? And I'm not saying how does it exist like an existential question. I mean, what does it look like? How do we engage with it? How does it exist? What is the business model? What's the white space? If we can catch our breath for a minute and think about what the future consumer is going to be. There's a really smart gentleman who works at Dentsu. His name is Dirk Herbert. And he was talking to me about this idea of AI twins, that there'll be a human you and a virtual you.
Well, the same thing. There'll be a human
Internet
BBC and an agentic BBC.
And what a cool concept. I mean, okay, let's take the fear out of it for a second. What does that look like? What does that look like? What does that mean? How can we lean into, maybe it's an inevitability, maybe it's not, but how can we lean into something like that and create something really meaningful? And I guess it feels, I don't want this to be another brand safety dynamic where we sort of have the same conversation over and over again. I want this to be a catalyst for media to lead really meaningful and necessary and positive innovation.
Going back to the word inevitability, it's inevitable that AI search is going to win and we will ask questions all the time. Yeah. It'll get better and better.
Yes.
I also, the other day, I went to buy one of those little bracelets that records everything you do because I think it's inevitable that we all have them. And my idea was not about the conversation we're having, but about how to make me a better person.
Yes.
So I want my bracelet to do two things for me. A, tell me things that we talked about today that I forgot to do. And B, tell me the 30 people I talked to today and who was I not nice to and how can I be a better person with that.
And those are intentions that you set for yourself.
Right. But I think there's other intentions that are not that good, but that is something I want to do. And I think it's inevitable that we're all going to have them. So I want to embrace it and figure it out now.
Now, what is your policy in terms of alerting people to the fact that you're recording them?
I haven't. It's still in order. I will tell everyone. I'm going to tell them. It's like having a tattoo.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I have this. Here's why I'm using it.
I regret it. Sorry, that's just my tattoo.
Here's why I'm using it, and I want to try to become a better person. Is it okay if we record this conversation? When I go back at the end of the day, it's going to tell me how to be a better person.
Yes, that is a emotionally, that is a positive intent, emotionally anchored purpose that you can communicate to someone that they will understand and they will feel that. And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. You're talking about technology, right? That's what you're talking about. You're talking about a wearable, and it is inevitable. But people saying, okay, I don't have a problem with you using it is going to be much more likely if you say that than if you say, I'm recording this so I have a record.
Yeah.
And that's about storytelling. And I do believe that that is the gap. And I'll tell you something, AI can't do storytelling.
Not yet.
Fine, but it can't. And I don't know. We'll see. Not yet. Sure. But what does that look like? Maybe. That's the human special sauce, in my opinion.
Which goes back to why the content creators are so important. Mm-hmm. And without the content creators and the AI don't have the right information to be able to suck up and be able to get smarter and figure it.
Yes, I think, yes, there is nothing that can connect people like a great story. And that's just incredibly important. It captures hearts and minds. It motivates people. It inspires curiosity. Stories are what connect us to one another. And that's really what we do at the BBC. And that's what I'm so motivated by and why I'm so passionate about the broader mission and commitment that the company makes, but also about the work that we do on the commercial side, because we take that and translate it down and really use it and bring it to bear for partners such that, you know, they can experience the benefits of a great story. To your point, stories come from everywhere. And maybe we do need to open up some space for stories to come from AI. I don't know what that's going to look like. I mean, I've seen some incredibly funny slop out there. So yes, you're right. We're probably on the path. But I choose to believe, and I haven't been proven wrong, at least not yet, that the best stories come from people. And they will continue to come from people.
So what do you think it looks like in 5 years?
What's it?
Entertainment, media, AI, everything we've talked about. What do you think it morphs into in 5 years? Take a second. This is because I'm asking you. I have different questions I was going to ask you than I'm asking everyone else, because like this is an interesting philosophical conversation. And I know you're not going to give me the simple answer.
I don't think there is a simple answer. I think we have to leave a lot of room for what we don't know yet. And I'll tell you, I'll give you an example of me coming to that realization. When I first heard about the deal that Hearst did.
Okay.
Hearst did with Rufus.
Okay.
So I believe that's right.
Rufus being the Amazon's AI. Yeah.
Yes, but it is specific to their shopping experience.
For now, yes.
Fine. Where Hearst will provide top of funnel context and content by way of content to plug a gap that Amazon has. They are down funnel locked. And I know that they would argue that they've got full funnel with, you know, Amazon Prime Video and whatever. But like
you want to buy something, you buy it there.
You buy exactly.
Yes.
I think that's exactly right. I think that's exactly right. I first heard that Hearst had agreed to do this, and I thought, man, that's it. And I'm not being fatalistic. It just was like, well, that's the unlock. Now there's content at the top of the funnel for Amazon, and it has kind of completed that shopping experience. And then I went and started to do some more due diligence on it. And there was a gentleman who was interviewed from one of the big four, and he said, why shouldn't they do this? They don't know what the future is going to look like. So why not get some upside while we figure it out and lean in with a company that is pioneering likely a lot of what the future will look like.
Right. There's a handful of companies who are pioneering that.
Sure. But I share that anecdote to say, for me to opine on what I think the future will look like with any modicum of conviction and confidence, I think would be irresponsible. I think we can probably look a year out to understand the impacts on the business, the media business as it currently operates today. I think we can probably make some predictions about 18 months to 2 years out of where pockets of opportunity.
White space.
Yes. And where pockets of opportunity will appear and where friction will become more.
Well, there's not enough friction right now in the ecosystem for publishers because it's too easy for the AI companies to scrape the data, which is why they're trying to create more friction.
Yes. And I think friction is a great motivator. That is a top line friction point, to be sure. But there are other points here. For example, one of the ways that media can re-entrench itself is by closing its ecosystem loop, essentially creating its own walled garden. Now, that includes what you're saying. It includes putting walls up. And by the way, BBC does do that. We do block AI bots for the most part.
Yeah, you think you're blocking them until as best you
sure.
can.
I read your LinkedIn posts. Okay. I read your LinkedIn posts. I get your emails. I have a good cry, and then I go back to work.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sam.
But, so for example, let's go back to Google Zero.
I was going to get there also, but go ahead.
Okay, well, let's go back to Google Zero. Friction point. Okay, AI search, question to answer dynamic, fine. And then the referral highway has been closed off and it's turned into a cul-de-sac. I took that from someone. I don't know who. I'm sorry, but I really liked it.
That's not what the blog post they said the other day, that they're still sending billions in traffic still to publishers out there. Just it's different publishers now.
Sure.
Is it interpreted many different ways? But yes.
Yes. I mean, I don't really. I take what Google says, and then I read a lot of other stuff that's not Google.
I don't think Google can lie too much about what they're saying today. Because
I'm not suggesting that they're misrepresenting it, but they're naturally, and this is a personal assumption, but I would imagine that they would naturally lean toward putting a more rosy colored outlook on it because they have vested interest. But going back to a friction point, so Google Zero, great friction point for the media business. Now, we're not a performance business. Obviously, search makes up a component of our strategy, but we've never anchored our audience development strategy in search. So we have a really strong foundation on which to build, but we've really thought about, okay, what's longevity here? And this isn't a new concept for us. And I would argue it's not a new concept for a lot of long-standing publishers that have had to evolve with the times. But audience and community and loyalty and engagement and trust are really the ingredients for a long-term relationship with an audience, which ultimately is what we're bringing to bear to keep them around for years to come. And so we've evolved with changing platforms. AI isn't the only innovation that's happening, by the way. Like, we are in an amazing time of platform diversity and content formats and responsivity to audience interests and trends, and being able to do that at such an incredible pace and with such incredible intelligence that it's fascinating and actually really exciting. And we've launched, for example, 11 newsletters in the past 2.5 years. Yeah. 11, all of which are interest-based. They are all in direct response to audience interests. And for example, we launched In History, which is a newsletter we launched last year in 2024, and it's still experiencing steady month-over-month increases.
And how about community across all of BBC?
But that's what we're building, and or rather, that's what we're continuing to commit to maintaining, is a community for people that understand what we as an organization are bringing to bear, what our values are. Because I do think, as we talked about earlier, when you talk about or when you think about what is going to drive AI adoption, it's going to be that emotional connectivity. Well, that's also going to drive loyalty, and it's going to drive commitment from consumers or end users to brands like ours. By the way, to brands like Nike, to brands like Starbucks. It doesn't matter. That's the fulcrum around which everything operates. And so everything we do, everything we build is about ensuring that our ecosystem or our canvas can meet consumers where they are, can deliver what they're interested in at every touch point, such that there is smaller and smaller and smaller opportunity for consideration outside of that ecosystem, with genuine intentionality to offer value and to be a trusted resource, even in this time of change.
Okay, I have one last question for you.
Great.
Because you really didn't answer my last question about 5 to 10 years, which I get, but you gave me a really good answer why. If you could get 5 or 10 people in a room together, okay, to talk about the future of AI and where it goes for publishers and AI.
Specifically to this industry?
To this industry, who would they be? You don't have to give me names, but like the CEO of this company, but it's any, like, I'm just trying to think like, non-traditionally, who would you think you get in a room together to try to solve some of these? Because you said what you need, a big problem, and you need
really smart people.
Okay, so who are those 5 or 10 really smart people who you would bring together to have this conversation? And you need to give me some answers. You can't say, oh, it's 18 months, not 5 or 10 years. It's a good question.
It's a great question. This is where I'm embarrassed to say my memory can sometimes
give me names of companies. I'm not
fail
people. Give me names of companies, not people.
On
I'd
individuals. But it wouldn't be. It would be individuals. So the gentleman who was the co-founder of Salesforce, he created the like button. Is
that the person who's on the, okay.
Andrew something?
Okay, he's on the board of something. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll give you the reason why. So someone like that who understands how to identify a problem and create a solution set around it using technology and marketing and strategy and data, who sees the answer as more than just a programming challenge.
Something like that. Okay.
Him.
I stumped her. This is great.
You didn't stump me, but I feel bad because I think it's going to take me a while to answer, and people aren't going to stick around this long. You might have to do this at like 8 times speed.
Okay, so why don't you send me an email and I will do a blog post of that, because I think you have some really interesting answers about who that would be.
Someone who's an incredible storyteller, someone who, so we identified the someone who can isolate a problem and map a solution to it with an entire ecosystem in mind, not just a technology. Maybe technology is the tip of the spear, or AI is the tip of the spear, but it is the tip of a longer spear. Someone who is an incredible storyteller, who has had success in doing that across different mediums, so
like
medium agnostic. That is an interesting knee-jerk.
Well, he's one of the greatest storytellers ever.
Okay. I'll come back to you on who I would choose, but I would put that, sure, we can put that in the consideration set. And then I'll send you the rest. It's really going to be, I'll tell you that like the red thread of these people, the connective tissue of these people, are ones who are unwilling to be confined to what is, who understand the realities of what is, but who are motivated to use that reality as fuel to develop what could be.
Okay. Sam, thank you so much.
Thank you for
We
having
did
me.
not
This was
talk
so
about your
fun.
history at all.
I know.
But I made the
I feel like the top part was like all over
I made
the place.
the executive decision. We went right into it, just continue going. Such an interesting conversation.
Oh, good.
You drew me a list of 5 to 10 people or concepts of people that I will do a LinkedIn post with your help and make sure I have
like you will not do a LinkedIn post. You will do something else. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Everyone, thank you so much. It's a great conversation.
Thank you.
Let us know what you think.
Okay.